Why did Vice President Kamala Harris lose to Donald Trump the 2024 presidential election? There are a variety of reasons. The Democrats stay at home. They weren't interested in voting for her over the issue with Gaza. It was the price of eggs and groceries. But investigative journalist Greg Palast, he says, no, voter suppression is the reason. And the fact of the matter is she could have easily won if it wasn't for that. He joins us right now. Greg, welcome back to the show. So walk us through what your research has determined.
Okay, it's real simple. In fact, if you go to gregpalast.com, you can get all the numbers so you don't have to keep your calculator and a pen next to you while I tell you what's going on. For those who, by the way, don't know me, Greg Palast, I'm an investigative reporter. I'm especially I'm known as a data journalist. I got the Global Editors Award for that. That means I'm a detective with a pen, and I used to work for the U.S. Justice Department and Attorneys General. My degree is in forensic economics. Why am I telling you all these things? Because I'm going to give you a lot of numbers, and you better believe them instead of the junk you're hearing from mainstream press. Here's what happened to Kamala Harris. Here's what happened to our democracy. What happened was that vote suppression won this election. Trump would have lost except for massive vote suppression. And what I mean by vote suppression, that's a very polite term for shafting black people out of their votes and other people of color, including a lot of young people whose votes are blue. Now, here's the calculation, and I'm very good at this stuff. I've been doing it for the NAACP, ACLU, Black Voters Matter, and the Reverend Jesse Jackson for years, this type of technical analysis, what they take into courtrooms. Here's the number. If it wasn't for vote suppression, Kamala Harris would have had 3,565,000 more votes. 3,565,000 more votes, which would have given her a plurality of 1.2 million in the popular vote over Trump. Even more important, if not for Jim Crow trickery, which reached it's not new to this election, but it reached new heights in this election, Roland, Kamala Harris would have easily won Wisconsin, Michigan, Pennsylvania, and Georgia for a total of 286 electoral votes, and she would be president of the United States right now. And here's how it breaks down, Roland. And this number is from the United States Elections Assistance Commission, an agency you've probably never heard of, but their job is to keep track of the votes in America. They track it, but they also do something else. They keep track of the non-votes in America. We are a nation that America's nasty little secret, Roland, is that we don't let everyone vote, in particular voters of color. Leading up to the 24 election, states purged 4,776,706 voters from the voter rolls. 4.8 million, almost 5 million voters were simply erased off the voter rolls. I looked at elections in Venezuela, Liberia, Mexico, Switzerland, China, you name it. They don't purge people off voter rolls the way we do, this purge business. Now, who's getting purged of those 5 million voters? Well, I took a deep dive into the purge of, a couple of years ago, 300,000 voters in Georgia. I did this for the ACLU and Black Voters Matter, NAACP. And I uncovered that 198,000 voters in Georgia who were removed because supposedly they moved from their Georgia voting address. Not one of them moved. Now, I'm not guessing. I hired the experts who work with Amazon who know exactly where you live. There's a lot of Roland Martins in America, but you don't get someone else's tidy-whities, do you? Because Amazon knows exactly where you live. And I got a special contract with the U.S. Postal Service to hunt down people. We're not guessing. We went name by name by name, 198,000 voters who they said had moved out of Georgia, and there they were at their homes. And who were they? We called 800 of them, which is a very big statistical sample. Almost all of them were African-American voters in Georgia. That's who gets purged. In Wisconsin. And if it weren't for those purges, Kamala Harris would have taken Georgia.